me go again. Ah, yeah. Yo, I one west to the dead. Yeah, fuck everything else. Big boot on my fringes. Girl, I tell me say she love the way how me change it. Everything sign and seal. Then I tell me say she love the deal. Yeah, yeah. Big boot on my fringes. Girl, I tell me say she love the way how me change it. If I don't know you pick it my youth, me I tell you no straight up. And I'm my business. Yeah, man I move real heavy. 20 man I jump out a couple Chevy. Well serious, man I look happy. Wrong move to a boy in a dopey. Them a waste man. Them a talk about me but me no care man. After everything else me still be a man. Cause your truth me attack and the truth and the part me a stay man. Yeah, delivered it on fire. Everything up in the ear like fire bonfire. But I can't tell you how I me dead so let them have the rising power. Liar Sha'Allah. This your one for my brothers and my sisters. We get caught off early. Big boot on the fringes. Girl, I tell me say she really love all the changes. If I don't know you became my youth, me I telling me straight out. And I'm my business. Yeah, big boots on my braids, man. Yeah, me not left me shades on. Special type of gun for this occasion. Hardcore, can't tip on me right hand. Everything talking real neat. Tell a boy I cut just through him no sit discreet. Him a trouble for breed. I am not shouting. Me conscience it a speak. Rats and snakes them foot get slit. Yeah, they give them the realness. Don't start freak out when 200 million of me niggas them out. Yeah, shut in a face, shut in a mouth. Rise it up, balance the soul reaper. Make evil scaper. Yeah, well, I know what I'm say. And the truth though, I saw the thing over. Move, move. Big boot on my fringes. Girl, I tell me say she love the way how me change it. If I don't know you picking my youth, me I telling you straight out. And I'm my business. Big boot on my fringes. Big boot on my fringes. Boot on my fringes. Yeah, I'm told. One West and nothing else.
Test, test, test. Test 1 2 1 2. Salakia. Bear with me just a moment. Test, test, test. That's a little bit better. Okay. All right, most of the should be good to go. Let me just check this audio. Just that's all I'm gonna say. You need ice? Nah. Test, test, test. Guys, actually, I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, just a tiny bit. Test, test, test. Okay, that should be better. Yeah. All right. Most high in Christ. All right, let's clap it up. Shalom. How about you? How Shah Barakathah? Barakathum. So like it's all the brothers. Yahal Shamar Alathun. Bashim Shah to all the sisters. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical. The water, bro. The water. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Out here in Durham, North Carolina, preaching officer of 1,000 holding it down. You know what I'm saying? As usual, brother Officer 500 Yanazar with me. You know what I mean? It's the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, the Hebrew class, out here in Durham. Okay, let me get rid of this. And like I said, Isupk started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, 1969. You know what I'm saying? Teaching the truth according to the Bible. You know what I mean? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true Jews, according to the Bible. You understand? And this, of course, being the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, like I said, I always look at it like almost like a cultural primer. You understand what I'm saying? In other words, as you know what I'm saying, as lost, as God's chosen people, but lost people, you understand, who don't know our identity, we're constantly being faced with the reality that in this place we don't have an identity. Or better yet, we don't know it. You understand? And in the Isupk, of course, the groundwork has been laid to get our true identity, our true culture back to us.
That's right.
You understand? And what aspects of that culture, you know, every culture has multiple facets to it. You understand? If you could, Baba Kusha, let's get Zephaniah 2:1, as my brother so eloquently uses at the beginning of every brotherhood class, because it's so tawab. But let's do that real quick. We'll do 2 quick scriptures. Do Zephaniah 2:1. And if you could, Yanazar, as well, give me the definition of nation. You know I like to use that with it. If you could, Baba Kusha. Yeah, let's do Zephaniah first. He's going to read it real quick, and then we're going to get the definition of nation, and we're going to read it again.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Right. Now, we use the scripture all the time, right? And there's a reason for that, right? It says, gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. I told you twice, right? O nation not desired. Now, there's a lot of ways we can look at this, but what's so heavy about what it says there? Amongst many things.
Okay. O nation not desired. Like, that is the identifying marker.
That's right. That's right. That is the identifying marker, right? But something else I want, right? At the beginning of it, it says something. It's okay, like, okay, how do I say it? It's almost like something you wouldn't think about, but it's like, damn, it's weird that it's saying that in that way. For time's sake, I'll give it to you, right? You right on it, Giannis. You're absolutely correct. That's the identifying marker of who it's talking about. It's a nation that's not desired. But the other facet of this nation that's an identifying marker is the fact that this nation is what? Is not together. Now, doesn't that seem like an oxymoron? Like a nation, how it's a nation, but they're not, like it's a nation, but you got to tell them to come together? Does anybody have to tell Italians to be with Italians? No, in fact, Italians left Italy. You know what they did? They created Little Italy. They came over to, you know what I'm saying, to the southern tip of Manhattan, not quite the tip, pause, but they came to southern Manhattan or lower Manhattan, and what? Moved next to each other. They got off of the damn boats going to Ellis Island and established Little Italy. And they established not just neighborhoods in lower Manhattan, but also in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? If you do your history, Al Capone was actually born and raised in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? He lived amongst a lot of Italians and Irishmen, Scotsmen, right? These other nations don't have to be told. Let me tell you something. East Indians don't have to be told to gather together. Trust me, I know. In India, it's all Indian. And then when they come to America, who do they live with? Other Indians. East Indians to be specific. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have to be told that, right? But what nation of people has to constantly be told to love themselves, to love each other? Go ahead.
If I may, sir. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And before you say, well, you know, Hispanics got Hispanic neighborhoods, well, black people have black neighborhoods too. But what happens in Hispanic neighborhoods? Latin Kings, MS-13, Norteños, Sureños. You understand? All kinds of new gangs I never heard of in my life popping up all over the place. You understand what I'm saying? So in Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities, yeah, they exist. But they are not a place where these people, where we love each other and we're gathered together. No, it's a place where we hate each other. No one hates a brother from Marcy Projects more than a brother who is also from Marcy Projects or from the projects up the street. You understand what I'm saying? That is the mark of Israel in this particular scripture. Read it from the top, Baba Kusha, and then give me that definition.
I got the definition.
Yeah.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Mm-hmm. Now give me the definition of a nation.
A community of people composed of one or more nationalities and possessing a more or less a defined territory and government, and also Slovakia. It just went out.
No sweat. I got it all here. This is from the new Oxford American Dictionary. You know, we go into the real scholarly dictionary, the big brolic one. You know what I'm saying? That you might have had in your house, or you might have went to the library to do your research paper if you was born before 1990. No, on your iPhone, when you just type in a search, that's the dictionary that pops up. It just pops up with the definition. Salakia. Let's see. So what you can do is just Google it. You can just Google New Oxford American Dictionary and then look up the words you're looking for. They might even have an app. Okay. So nation, a large aggregate of people united, keyword united. In other words, they're connected, right? By common descent, history, culture, or language, inhabiting a particular country or territory. So your nation, it told us to gather together. So in other words, if we're going to gather together, what do we got to do? We have to get back to what?
Being who we are by nature. I mean, like, we have to first identify who we are first.
Right. So we have to know our descent, our common descent. Who do we come from? Every nation knows who they come from. Don't get it twisted. A white man can tell you right now that his great-great-great-great-grandfather was, the King of Scots, doorman or something. Like, yeah, my great-great-great-grandfather was on the court of such and such during the Inquisition. You understand? They know who they come from and where they come from. The Chinese, too. They can trace their lineage back to some feudal lord, you know what I'm saying, in the damn 300 AD. But we can't. Well, not we, not Isupk. We can. We trace our lineage back to who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We know where we come from, right? History. So you got to know your history. You understand? If you think your history is Yakub, the big head scientist, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but that's not common history. That's not a thing. That's not real. You got to really know your history, the history of your people. It binds us together. All right. Let's see what else. Culture, right? Culture, what would it be? What would fall under culture? What's an example of culture?
The way marriage is culture.
Yes, our marriage is our culture, right? But what about marriage? The fact that Sex is marriage. Is our culture. Is that our culture to get down on one knee with the ring and say, you know, baby, I've been.
Hey, brother, don't make me feel bad. Because I did it once.
It's no sweat, brother. It's no sweat. You're not the only one.
Okay, bro.
No sweat. But that's the point. That wasn't your culture. That's not your culture, not our culture to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not a black man thing to do, to get down on one knee like you praising a woman like, please, oh, please, let me be your man. You know what I'm saying? That's not our culture. Right, exactly. So I got to get down here while you up there. You know, that's not our culture. You know what I'm saying? It is our culture that what? If you lay with a woman, you got to what? Stay with that woman. That's not America's culture. That's not the oppressor's culture. He don't believe in that at all. You know what I'm saying? They want to talk about a brother having more than one wife or whatever the case may be. Meanwhile, how many husbands did damn Joan Crawford and all these Caucasian celebrities have in the 40s and 50s and 60s? They kept getting married over and over again. I read an article today that said that Cary Grant, the actor Cary Grant, didn't have his first child until he was 62 years old. It was his 5th marriage. So he had married and left 4 women, got to the 5th one, and finally had a child. Because that's the kind of thing that they do in their society. When they want to get rid of one, get rid of them, get a new one. Are we allowed to do that, Yanazar? If you got a wife and you sleep with another woman, what now? You got to get rid of your old wife? You sure, Yanazar? You can't be double dipping. You can't have 2 women, Yanazar. You got to get rid of her.
Like, if I may, sir.
Please.
What people don't really understand is the importance of what you're saying. Like, they think that this devalues a woman, but in reality, it shows you more value to the woman. That you have to be responsible, man. And if, before you sleep with a woman, man, you better know what you're doing, brother.
Damn right.
Especially in this kingdom. Lord,
that's a fact. That's what it is, right? That's our culture. How we dress, you know what I'm saying? Fringes and boots, sisters with their hair, their head covered, hair wraps. You know what I'm saying? Sisters wearing modest apparel. You know what I'm saying? Not having your damn what General Muhammad call it, your front butt all out. You know what I'm saying? A black woman don't have all of this, all just out. Oh, that was crazy. It was rough, man. It was very, very rough. You know what I'm saying? But that's our culture. And the last part says, or language. Our language is our culture. So if we're going to get back to who we are, we got to get back to all these things. And our language is part of that. And our culture is in our language. Go ahead, Yanazar.
If I may, sir, when the so-called fake Israelis determined that they were going to, pretend to be us, one of the first things that they did was set up a language. You understand, which came out to be Yiddish, which they claim to be Hebrew. You understand? So they knew the importance of an identifiable language to their culture.
Damn right. I mean, they did a sin, man. They did a sin. Let me do Deuteronomy 4:7 before we get into this. You know what I'm saying? Salaki, I don't want to get in too much of a habit of doing too much talking. It's just, some of these scriptures are so important to understanding who we are and why we do this. We do this for a reason. Okay? So before you get that, actually, no, you can go ahead and read it first. I'm gonna start writing over here.
Chapter 4 and verse 7. For what nation is there so great? Who hath
say that from the top? Let's go to the verse before, verse 6.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
And do what? What is it talking about?
Law, statutes, and commandments,
right.
Sir.
And which is what? Going back to what we just said. Read my mind.
It's the culture.
Damn right. Give them a hand, right? Our laws are our culture.
Like, I don't want.
Go ahead, please.
Like people, everybody that I talk to, our people I'm talking about, because I don't talk to Edomites at all. They can't understand that, man. They can't understand how important it is, man. They can't understand that this is our culture, that our culture is the law. You know,
That's right.
It's hard for them to understand that.
Man, and you know what? And that's the sad reality for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I was watching something earlier today, man, and you know, just preparing for the show today. Some other things I was watching on my own time, and just also thinking about, you know, what I'm going to talk about at camp tomorrow. And man, our culture in America, Captain Azani, y'all brought it out today. Like, we whatever America lusts after is what we lust after. So if our culture in America, the culture that we have embraced, that's why Ayazab Adawan brought out the scripture where it says, is Israel a homeborn slave? You know what I'm saying? Why is he spoiled? It's like, you understand that our culture in America literally centers on our own destruction? You ever think about that? You ever think about the things that in the Black community, in the ghettos of America, that we uphold? We will uphold a criminal. We'll uphold a criminal and hate a non-criminal. Sound familiar, don't it? Right. Now, let me be careful here. Don't take this too far. The brother that died, Kevin Samuel. Now, that brother was not in the truth, and we, you know, he had a lot of problems that in the Isupk, we definitely talked about some of the things he was saying that were not right and were wrong. But at the end of the day, he was not a criminal. But when he died, Black women were celebrating that man's death like they had won the lottery. But how many of those same sisters have applauded and worshiped a drug dealer? And worshiped and Black women who kill their babies in abortion clinics? That gets applauded. You can sell all the drugs you want and destroy all the lives you want, and guess what you'll get? If something happens to you, you get murdered, you'll get a mural. You'll get a t-shirt. R.I.P. Big Pookie. And balloons and all of this. Now, how many people had to say R.I.P. to their cousin because of what Big Pookie did for his own personal gain? But in the neighborhood, they won't remember your cousin that got strung out. They won't remember your cousin who got murdered because he wanted to get in the drug game, but they'll remember Big Pookie. We worship and celebrate our own destruction all the time. If it's negative for us, we love it. You know what I'm saying? ISUPK, we go out there and do what? You know what I'm talking about, Yanazar. We say one thing, we get on the mic, Black people, you got to love each other. Here comes some nigga. What are y'all saying? Y'all preaching hate. What? Literally all I said was the word love. Like, Black man, we got to love our sisters. Hispanic and Native Indian men, we got to love each other. Y'all got to stop that hate teaching that hate. What? You know what I'm saying? There's a scripture, I'm going to go into it, where it says, you know what I mean? I'm paraphrasing. You know what I mean? Where it basically says in the next verse, you know, and you hate me because I tell you the truth. You understand what I mean? And so that's what's crazy about what we're talking about. As a nation, the culture we've adopted is a culture that was given to us by people who hate us. Go ahead.
If I may, sir, like prior to the era of the Black exploitation movies, like, you know, we looked up to, like, I don't know, because, you know, I was back there. You know, and we looked up to people like Paul Robeson, people of education, and people, you know, they were mostly Christians, but we still looked up to a certain type of man. You know, he had to be prominent, moral standards, whatever. But once the Black exploitation movies came out and they flooded our communities with drugs, then that's when we started looking up to the pimp, the drug dealer.
True.
You understand?
I feel you. You know what I mean? But only thing I'm going to say is that with a lot of the Black exploitation films, first off, I don't even like that phrase, because a lot of those films were not Black exploitation films. First of all, many of them were directed by Black people, written by Black people. You understand? Who directed Shaft? No. He directed. Van Peebles directed the other one. He directed that movie with the comedian Godfrey. The one where he was a white man.
Yeah,
Watermelon Man, which is I like that movie. But he directed that. Van Peebles directed that. What's his name? Gordon Parks. Gordon Parks directed Shaft. Yeah, and Shaft was a what? A cop. A detective. Slovakia. Shaft wasn't no drug dealer. You know what I mean? Now, yeah, they released the Mac and Superfly, but guess what? I ain't gonna. If you go watch the movie in the Mac, that movie shows you live that lifestyle if you want. It is not gonna go in well for you. At the end of that movie, the Mac wasn't in a good position. You know what I'm saying? Now, Superfly, he was trying to get out the game.
Yeah, the insurance policy.
Right, but they still glorified the game in that film. You know what I mean? So I see what you're saying. You're right, Yanazar. But some of those films, a lot of times, were actually about us going what? Against the man. Going against police corruption. Remember, in the Mac, there was 2 corrupt cops. You know what I'm saying? Like, in those movies, they would show that. But now we don't have that at all. Yeah.
The only thing about it, aside from Shaft and maybe 1 or 2 others, the brothers that was rising up against the man were drug dealers or pimps.
That's true.
So that's I guess that's why I'm comfortable with black exploitation.
Got you.
Because those are the people, like, just like with the Christian pastor, right? The Christian pastor is considered the leader of the black community. And if you don't know that, just look at what happened out in Buffalo. Every station I turned to had a Christian pastor on it. You know what I'm saying? Without a doubt, every station, without exception, they brought a Christian pastor on to explain the black community's position. So with that being said, the same thing with the black exploitation movie, we understand, okay, like, if there's not a negative connotation or a negative message connected to it,
right,
then they won't be allowed to do it.
That's right. Kind of, you absolutely right, brother. You know what I mean? But that's what happens when you let someone else give you culture, as opposed to having your own.
That's right.
And you know what I'm saying? And knowing your own. Ain't nobody giving us our culture in here. You know what I'm saying? We're not relying on nobody else to give this to us. You feel what I'm saying? We're not relying on nobody else.
That's the lesson.
Right. We're getting it for ourselves. Let's see. All righty. Let's get into this. So what we've been talking about, of course, over the past few weeks is a few different things. Well, before we get to the 5 H's, we'll do that about 5th. Right, because I want to talk about this usage. This is very important. We discussed it before, but just, rehashing it is good for both sides of the equation. We'll say 5 H's, and we'll say possessives as pronouns. Okay. So when we last week we got back into the Assyrian after, we had a little time off from the Assyrian. We haven't really touched on it in a little while. Okay. So we went back to it. Why is this so important for us to know? I say it all the time, but refresh my memory of why it's so important that Assyrian, everyone hates the Assyrian. Every brother, I just want to, as soon as they start, they start reading in the Sabbath service or what have you, the first thing they say, I don't like Assyrian. I want to read the ancient. Why can't we read the ancient? You understand? I get it, brother. I get it. Why is it that we must, you understand, that we must read the Assyrian? Why is it so important for us to have that Assyrian down pat?
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Because it is more prominent, and 99% of the literature you read in Hebrew is going to be the Assyrian.
That's right.
So we have to understand the history of the Assyrian as it pertains to the ancient.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And note that it doesn't change the language by knowing the Assyrian
That's
alphabet.
it. There you go. Damn right. Plain and simple. The Assyrian is not a different language. It is not. It is not a different language. It is simply a different writing system. Okay? It's a different writing system that we utilize because we adopted it at a certain time so we can basically blend in. It was the commonly used system at the time. And so, of course, it made sense for us to do what? To be able to use it. All we did was, use it in such a way that it coincided with and adhered to our actual way of speaking. You understand? So that's the importance of it. And the reality is that we use it when we are in the Sabbath service and we have to read the scriptures in the Hebrew, right? We're going to use the Assyrian because that's what it's written in. As Yanazar said, it's the common form. If you go look up Hebrew in your Google machine right now, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see this. So it is imperative that you familiarize yourself with this. So that way, when you look up something, you don't get confounded and somebody showed you some Hebrew and you're looking at it like, what is that? I don't know what that is. But in here, you're going to learn what this is. We're going to do a quick review of it right now. All right. So let's just go through this alphabet real quick. We got it already on the board. So let's go through it individually first. Who wants to volunteer first? I'll go first. All right. Here we go. But and listen also to the pronunciation. Okay. Listen to the pronunciation. It's important because we want to start to get to a place where, like I said, where we're kind of going through this with some fluidity. We're going through this, you understand, not like robots, but we're going through it with some familiarity. Okay. And then the pronunciation is very important to that. And we'll see that in a second with these questions. I'll give an example after we run through the alphabet of what I mean. So here we go. Ba, ga. No, I'm just going to do it individually. We're each going to do it. Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, cha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, za, kwa, ra, sha, tha. All right. Next. You want to give it a go, Yanazar?
Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, cha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, taza, kwa, ra, fa, sha, fa.
Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta. Ka. Ka. Ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na. Ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, taza, kwa, ra, shata.
Just letting the sister know, right, that this ka is just softer. It's this takes practice. Even I have to continually do it because I'll get caught up. Because again, remember, we all have accents that are not from where? Are not from Jerusalem, are not from Nazareth, are not from Israel, our homeland. This language is, how old is this language, Yanazar? At least 2,000. Good.
No, it's way older.
Yeah, it's older than that, but I know what you mean.
Earliest known writing of it.
Mm-hmm. It's like 2,000.
1,000 years before Christ.
1,000. So that means that this language was being spoken 1,000 years before Christ was born. Think about that. Think about that. Christ, like, so to Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, walking around on earth, this language was so old to him, it would be the equivalent. We are in 2022. Does anybody know any major events that happened? I think that's 1022 is like the year of like the Great Schism. Around there, like when the Lutheran Church and the Roman Catholic Church like split was around like the year 1000, somewhere around there. That's 300 years before the birth of Geoffrey Chaucer. That's 600 years before William Shakespeare wrote all those sonnets. 600 years before King James. Think about that. Think about the time. It's astonishing. Damn. Oh, my shoelace. Lock here. Bear with me. One of my buttons. Come. Long time ago, very old language, man. And now we are speaking it now with 3,000 years in the future accents. You good? Come. We're speaking it now with 3,000 year in the future accents. We're speaking it now with New York accents. We're speaking it now with Maryland accents. We're speaking it with California accents, Midwestern accents, Texas accents, Alabama, Florida accents, UK accents. You understand? We're speaking this with accents from today. Go watch a video. You can find them easily on YouTube now. Go watch a video of somebody being interviewed in 1920. You can find it. It exists. And listen to them speak. And these are Americans. And it will be the accent will be almost unrecognizable to you. You go listen to a person, an American talk from New York 100 years ago, and it will sound to you like, what? Where are they from? And now we're trying to reconstruct this from 3,000 years ago. So no, your pronunciation is not going to be perfect, but we damn sure are going to try. So when you say that ka, that's what it is. Take the ka, but soften it. With the ka, what do you do with the ka? How do you form a ka? How do you form that? Right? Man, we talk a lot about linguistics in this class, right? And we talked about consonantal sounds and how they what? They obstruct the passage of air as it leaves your mouth, right? So a K obstructs the passage by what? Your actual mouth. You kind of, I forgot what they call it in linguistics, but you make this face like this face, K, but back in the back of the throat, behind your palate, right? It's like a closing mechanism. Like, you use like the back of your tongue, right? To, I don't even, it's some scientific way to put it. You gotta look it up in your linguistics books or Google it. You know, like they got words like labial, vocal fricative. Yes, not that kind, but that is what it's called. So like the word, like the letter W in linguistics, I believe is referred to as the labial or labio vocal fricative. It all describes the different ways your mouth moves to form the sound. So the K in the back of the throat, right? The Ka, you're going a little bit more towards your palate, a little bit forward. It's not in the back. It's more, it's up here. You follow me? You know what I'm saying? I can, if you're not, no sweat. One is further back. K. You can feel it back here. K, ka. It's further back down your throat. Pause. Ka. One is a little bit further forward. Ka. Ka. And you're not allowing it to fully enclose to form that kind of more plosive sound. Right? We do imagine you on the mic, right? And you know, we got these filters on the microphone, right? These pop filters. That's the whole point of it. Like if a person's been in the studio before, you know, there's a pop filter in front of the mic. So to prevent that, because those are called plosives, they are very harsh. The ka is similar to that. Notice that kind of sound, right? But the ha is softer. See that? It doesn't have that as much plosive sound to it because you're purposely lessening that friction. You follow me? Right? So when we say it, we're going to say ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, tza, kwa, ra, sha, ta. And with the tza, get in that habit too. Get in the habit of shortening that first ah sound. We don't want to say taza, taza, taza. We want to say taza, taza, taza. Captain Tazaryak. Captain Khataza. See that? That's something we're used to saying a little bit. That taza, we don't say Captain, we don't say Captain Kataza. Captain Kataza. We don't say that. It's Khataza. Captain Khataza. Right? Most High in Christ. We didn't finish Deuteronomy 4 and 7, did we? If we could, Baba Kusha. And let's read that in the Hebrew too. Let's do that. Let's see what that looks like in the Hebrew. So we can learn how to read it. Let's do that. So in this Assyrian review, we will go to Deuteronomy 4 and 7, and we're going to show it in Hebrew and learn how to say it. Okay? I don't want to get rid of the 5 W's we have up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of, let me see where I can make some space. Make some space right here. Here we go. That's what we'll do. That's Twab. Where we at? Where's one? I like this one. Okay. So these were just things we were talking about with the questions and answers, right? What does this mean? Akasar lakum. What you want? Remember, there's no question in it. Akasar lakum. Look, you could say food, but really lakum is right. But I don't know what you mean. But what does kasar mean? Huh? It does. You're absolutely right. So we got bread, we got want. What does this R, it's like an R prefix attached to the kasar mean? Akasar lakum. I want bread. Give him a hand. That's it. Akasar lakum. And it rolls off the tongue. Pause. Akasar lakum. And that's another example where we don't want to say akasar lakum. It should roll. Akasar lakum. Akasar lakum. Akasar lakum. But not like, see, I did it too much right there. I don't want to sound like the old Jewish man in Coming to America. No. We don't want to sound like that. We just want it to be a soft ka. Akasar lakum. Akasar lakum. There we go. Smooth. Like butter. And this Yamawath, this is when we were breaking down this phrase, when will he die? Mathaya ya mawa. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We're going to get all these prefixes down. I might have to just kind of just put that. Well, I got it as possessives as pronouns. But yeah, no sweat. So y'all remember that Akasar lakum is going to come up again in Yamawat, right? But this brother's about to read Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 7. We're going to write a little bit down to get an understanding of how we read. Read it in English first, then we're gonna go to the Hebrew together. Let me get it on my phone.
Okay. Come on. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 7 in English. For what nation is there so great who hath God so nigh unto them as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?
Say it from the top, if you could, Baba Kusha.
For what nation is there so great?
Right. We read the verse before because we just read the beginning of it where it talks about the law.
Verse 6, Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
Go ahead.
For this is your wisdom. And
that's what we missed before. The laws, our culture is our what?
Wisdom.
Our wisdom. So our culture is supposed to be a culture of
wisdom.
But right now, there's a scripture in the Bible that says what? Folly is held in great dignity. And in our culture, that is true as it can be. Folly is held in great dignity. Every day I go on my Facebook and I see something new that makes me say, damn.
How do they think of this
How
shit?
do they think of this? Like, it's like, what is happening? I remember when, and again, I don't want to get too off topic, right? Don't let me, don't let me get too off topic. I remember when I was a kid in the 90s. And you know who had the reputation for being the most wild, crazy people? Not black people. Now, black people, we had our issues. We had, there was a time when, black people, DC was the murder capital, and New York was, was a bunch of murders. We were known, unfortunately, for crimes, right? Even back then. But when it comes to some of the more like silly antics, it was more so white people known for that kind of stuff. You would go on your TV and you would see stuff on MTV, like Beavis and Butthead, and you would just be like, what? Like, what is wrong with these people? And then they came up with the show Jackass, with a bunch of devils just, we're about to just jump off of this, so we're going to urinate in the snow and eat it. Go ahead, Yanazar.
And they added some black co-hosts to normalize it.
Right.
Because what you're saying is very heavy, brother. I'm serious. Because during that time, this is the time when things really started changing, was in the 80s and 90s. Because prior to that, like, you would see certain things go on, and you knew in your heart that it was white people that did it. But not no more.
Exactly. Now, you go on your internet, and you seeing black people do wild, outlandish things. It's a bug out, okay? But going from the beginning of that scripture, this is our real origin. This is how it really used to be.
Want me to read it again?
If you could, Baba Kusha.
6 or 7?
6, please.
Come on. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
That's what we're talking about. So you see, we're not just bumping our gums. There's a reason why we're saying this. Why we're saying what we're saying about how it used to be that when you saw certain antics, you just assumed it was, oppressors. It says what? It says that this shall be your wisdom. This culture of yours that is of wisdom is going to be what?
And your understanding.
It's going to be your wisdom and your understanding. Go ahead.
In the sight.
In the what?
In the sight.
In the sight, meaning they're going to see it. Go ahead.
Of the nation.
That means the other nations are going to see your what? Your wisdom and your understanding. And it doesn't stop there. Go to verse 7. Let's see what they're going to say about your wisdom and understanding, black man. Go ahead.
Verse 7. For what nation is there?
They're going to ask a question about your wisdom. and your understanding. They're going to ask a question about your what? Read my mind.
Nationality,
Mm-mm.
culture.
There we go. They're going to see how you operate, and they're going to have questions about your culture. And this is the question they're going to ask.
For what nation?
What?
What nation?
They're going to say what nation or what nationality or race. What nation, go ahead,
is there
uh-huh,
so great?
So what?
So great.
No, so base.
So great.
So average.
So great.
So regular.
So great.
They're going to ask what nation, they're going to be befuddled, like, what nation, what race of people is so great? Go ahead.
Who has God?
Who has who?
The Most High.
Who has God? Go ahead.
So nigh unto them.
So nigh unto them. The other nations are supposed to look at black people and say, damn, it's like God is what?
Nigh unto them.
He's with them.
He's with them.
He's right with them. He's right in the midst of them. Other nations, they don't even worship the God of the Bible. But they're supposed to look at us and say, damn, they have a connection to the creator and the universe that we don't have. Go ahead.
Who have God so nigh unto them as the Lord our God.
I'm so glad Yanazar is, you know what I'm saying, got some seasoning in his truth and knows how to enunciate and pronounce certain words. Notice what he said there. What did he give emphasis to? The fact that it says our power. If he's our power, what is he not?
He doesn't, not everybody.
He's not everybody's power, because if he's everybody's power, then he can't be our power. Go ahead.
Is in all things that we call upon him for.
That's right. Okay. Now let's get some of that in Hebrew. Okay. So I'm still writing it out. So just bear with me. I'm gonna just write the first maybe. I don't know if I can fit all of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give it a good old fashioned, you know what I'm saying, attempt. So just bear with me. I might be able to. What's wrong? Some of this y'all might not be able to see online. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Slovakia said, just bear with me, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get right through this. And what we're doing right now is more so, we're going to get the meaning, of course, but right now we're just going to talk about just going through the process of enunciating something as you're reading it in Hebrew. Okay. The thought process you should have. Just done in just a moment. Okay. Sign Christ. Okay, I did my best. You know what I'm saying? I don't got that Yanazar, you know what I'm saying, ancient scroll handwriting. But nonetheless, this is what we got. So I'm going to put the camera down a little bit just so y'all can kind of see it. There we go. I'm going to bring y'all a little bit closer too. Okay. So we got some Hebrew up here, right? Now, how do we go about reading this? God, that's the way we read it. We read it from right to left. That's correct. But how do we read it?
By pronunciation of the letter.
Absolutely. Just like your parents told you when you were a young boy or girl, sound it out. That's the best first thing you can do. Now, because of the way Assyrian works, we're at a disadvantage because we don't have what?
If I may, sir, connectors.
We don't have connectors. If we had connectors, it would be very, very easy to know exactly how many syllables we need, and therefore how to enunciate each word correctly. We don't have that. So we got to use our wits a little bit. And what's another thing we have to use to our benefit if we can? That tells us what a thing might be saying ahead of time.
Say again?
I said, what else can we use to aid us to get the proper pronunciation ahead of time when we're dealing with the Assyrian that doesn't have connectors?
Knowledge of the ancient, right? Or
that certainly helps.
Or the or vocabulary.
Right. Having a good vocabulary or knowing what certain words are helps us already. Right? That helps us tremendously. Those what you just said, Yanazar, the vocabulary connected or mixed with the fact that we know some of the English. We know what it says in English. For example, there's already a word in here that I know its pronunciation because of the English word. The word is nation. The word nation, right, is Goya in this sentence. And so I know when I see this, I'm not going to pronounce it Gawaya or Gawai. I'm going to say Goya. Goya. I know that because I'm pretty familiar with that word's pronunciation, if I'm not mistaken. Now, again, knowing vocabulary. I know that this word is kaya. And partly I know it because I know what it means. Kaya means for, but not in the sense, we got to still be grammatically correct. We still got to speak these words appropriately in their right context. Kaya doesn't mean for like, I got this for you. Or forecast. Or it doesn't mean for in that way. It means for like in the sense of, in the sense of for this reason or because of this, since this happened or something to that effect. That's what kaya essentially means. But let's see if we can't get through this first line of Hebrew. So this first word is kaya. Now we're going to just enunciate everything. Let's just see what happens if we just try that. We're just going to collectively, let's just say the letters we know together. You want to try that? Let's go. Like we're not gonna worry about connectors. We're just gonna read. I'm gonna point at a letter. I just want you to to pronounce the letter out loud. We're gonna do it all together. Y'all ready? We got this. Let's go. Here we go.
Kaya.
Ka. No, we're gonna do it one at a time.
Okay.
Ka.
Kaya.
Ya. Ma.
Ba.
Ya. Ga. Wa. Ya. Ga. Da. Wa. La. La. Wa. Ah. La. Ha. Ya. Ma. Huh? Don't sweat. That's the first thing you want to do. You want to practice with that, right? You should be able just to recognize your letters immediately. The faster you can recognize the pronunciation of the letter, the faster you can read it. Ka, ya, ma, ya, ga, wa, ya, ga, da, wa, la, wa, la, ha, ya, ma. Right? Kwa, ra, ba, ya, ma, la, ya, wa, ka, ya, wa, ha, la, ha, ya, na, wa. I ain't trying to flex on y'all. The point is, that's the first step to then being able to know, well, if I add in some of these rules, and I can already spot the letters immediately. I can see the letters and go, da, 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 I know them. But now let me add some of those rules I learned. One of the first rules you want to learn is that the large majority, I'm going to say it again, the large majority, but that doesn't mean what? Every time, all. Because the first two words in this sentence, first three actually don't adhere to this rule. But let's just say, I would say something like 65% of the time, the last letter is going to be connected to the letter before it. You're going to see that often. So the first one we'll see is here. Got the wall. Got a wall. Right? It's not Gada Wallah. It could also, you could, in so many ways without the connectors, it could be God wall, Gadolah, but no, it's got a wall, right? That's because these two last letters are connected. They form one syllable. You'll find that very often. Maybe I might even be exaggerating. I don't want to say large majority. Let's just say a lot of times. Let's just say that to be safe. A lot of times it'll be like that. Here's another one here at the end of the word. If we pronounce this, what letter is this? What? Ah, what's this? It's a lie, damn it. Y'all gonna kill me. What's this? Right? What's this? What's this? It's a little frigid, but it's a ma, right? Now, I want you to say these three letters in succession. This one by itself, this one by itself, this one by itself, and then these two letters, make them into one syllable. So just read each letter all the way through, but the last two letters are going to be one syllable together. Alahayim. That's the word, which means what? It means powers, right? Or God. It's just a word. It's like a broad stroke word to just define or describe the Most High, but also his legion of angels. Alahayim is technically a plural word. We know that because what? It ends in yum. Most High in Christ, right? So that's how we're going to go about reading it. We're just going to go through it. And it's the same thing. We can see it here in the blue letter. You know, if you want to go see it on blue letter, make it easier for you to read, go to blueletterbible.org, go to the scripture, Deuteronomy 4 and 7, click on tools, you know what I'm saying? Get rid of the vowel points, and there you have it. Kaya, Maya, Goya, got a wall, Ashar, Lawa, Alahayim, Quarabium, Alyoa, Ka Yahawa, Alahayanawa, Bakol, Quaraanawa, Alyoa. That's what that says. Kaya for, and there's literally, actually, it's funny. One of our question words is in this sentence. Anybody know what it is? You know, I see it. One of the question words on the board is in this sentence. Anybody? There is, in this sentence is one of our question W words. It's one of these. There we go, right? Maya, which means what? It means who. But the word who is not how they translated it here in this sentence. Instead, they translated it as what? The scripture says, for what nation? Because in translation, you have to bring it to a modern audience. Just like you have all these NIVs and New King James and New this or whatever, all of those versions, most of them are just purposely trying to pervert. They're just trying to mess up the actual word of the Most High, right? But it's also them trying to what? To change the wording to fit a modern sensibility. We have to remember that in 1611, there were actual people walking around that actually spoke a certain way and understood a certain kind of talking. And this, the King James Version of the King James Bible, was translated to suit what? The way they talked at that time. Okay? So who, and it doesn't say who in English, but it is who, because who and what are literally the same question. In fact, all four of these are literally the same abstract concept. You understand? It's just changing what? It's just changing the focus of the question, or like the subject of it. What? Exactly. What is the same thing as who, except this is talking about an object. Right? Who is the same thing as what? It's just talking about a person. Where is the same thing as these? It's just talking about what? A place. Right? When is talking about a time. Why is talking about a motivation or a reason. Okay? So that's why that's there. But here we go. So we read this first part, right? Can you read that, sis? That first line? Want to give it a go? You don't want to give it a try? No sweat. This is the first line. What's up here? You're not familiar with the what? Because of how I wrote them? Because of how I wrote them? It's just not the Assyrian, but you got it's right there though. No, it don't matter. Basically. Kaya. Maya. Khan. The next word is Goya. Mm-hmm. Got a wall. Mm-hmm. Got a wall. Lawa. Alahayim. Now, this next word, the root, I'll help you out. The root word is Quarab. The root, no, that next word you see right there, the root of that word is Quarab. You're not familiar with root words? No sweat, no sweat. We'll get it. All right. So, root word.
Root word, the part of a plant which no, that's root. I put in root word, and they just gave me root word definition dictionary. Basic cause, source of origin of something, the origin of a word.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they're not giving me,
That's all good.
root linguistic. Let me see what this says. A root is the core of a word that is irreducible.
There you go. That's it.
Into more meaningful elements.
So from the top, that definition?
A root is the core
A
of
root
a word.
is the core of a word. Go ahead.
That is irreducible.
That is irreducible.
Meaning that you can't make it any smaller.
Exactly. I'm sure I'm spelling this wrong. Irreducible. Means you can't what? Reduce it any further. Can't get no smaller than that. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the construction of a word. You understand what I'm saying? Like an atom or whatever the heck. I mean, at this point, I think they've gone beyond atoms. But there was a time when an atom was considered the most irreducible, you know what I'm saying, form of matter, right? That everything comes down to atoms, which is true. But I think at this point, now they have subatomic particles. They've gone even smaller than atoms now. Like even an atom, no, a molecule is made up of what? Electron, neutron, proton. But each of those is like an atom or something like that. I can't quite remember. It's been a while. But that's the point here. It's the function of a word to the point that it's irreducible. So if we have the word irreducible, what is the root of irreducible? Huh? Reduce. Reduce. Why? Why is that the root of irreducible? Because it is the most, when you take away the prefixes and suffixes that define it further, the most, again, filtered out to the point word that is the origin of this word is reduce. What does it mean to reduce something? To make smaller. Now, what does the prefix in English ear mean? Exactly. It means you're unable. And what does the suffix bull, which comes from able, what does that mean? The ability to do something. And able is the root word of ability. So you don't have, or you can't reduce ability. You don't have the ability to reduce, meaning it's irreducible. It's something you don't have the ability to reduce. And this is an example. So here we have a prefix and a suffix, but the root word is reduce. That's the concept at the center of it. So this word, where are we at? Quarabium, the root of it is the word quarab, which means, bear with me, quarab means like close or nigh. Like to be near or to draw near, right? So if we know the root word, then that does what for us? How does that help us?
It helps in the pronunciation.
How so?
Because we know that the root word is karab, so we can pronounce that part of the word.
Exactly.
And then we add on the other letters.
Exactly.
And it becomes, if I may,
please,
karabium.
Quarabium, right? Similar to irreducible. The word reduce is in the word irreducible. Unmanageable. The word manage is in the word unmanageable. You understand? And so that's the same thing. If we know the root of the word, then it helps us with pronunciation because we're going to pronounce the root 9 times out of 10. We're going to pronounce the root and then add on what needs to be added on. Okay? So from the top, kaya, maya, sis, we're going to read it together. I'm going to read a part. We're going to go like this. I'm going to read a part, then you read, and come back to me. All right? You ready? Maya, Slaki, I messed up the first word. Damn. Kaya got a wall. It's Loa. It's kind of close, so I'll get that to you. Loa. Alahayim. Quarabium. Where what ends? Which word? The next word? It ends at the wa. The wa is the last letter of that word. Huh? The wa is the last letter. Wait, what do you mean? We just said quarabium. What's the next word after that? Quarabium is, right? You don't see where quarabium is. Okay. No, Quarabium. You sure? It is a wa. All those letters are correct, but how do you pronounce that word? Say what? Mm-mm. Alawa. No sweat. And this is where read it from the English in the English if you could, Bible seconds. This is where knowing the English will help us. Deuteronomy 4:7.
Nation is there so great?
For what nation? For who is the nation? But is it what really? For who is the nation? Right. So great. Go ahead. Great.
That Salakia is there so great who have God so nigh unto them.
So who have God so nigh unto them. Korabim is the nigh or close. Then it says unto them. I know you see Allah and Yah, and you see the same thing here. Allah, Ha, and Yah, Allahayim, and that's confusing. But this has nothing to do with this at all. They're not the same word. They don't have the same root at all. But you don't know that because why? We don't have the connectors, and it's not so easy. That's why we have to, it helps us to know ahead of time and to see certain words consistently and have some familiarity. It helps us. So in this sense, right, the root here is al, Allah, al. Where the root here is Allah, is the root word. Allah, but really this is its own word, Allahayim, for powers, right? This is the plural form, but it's not the same. So this one is actually going to be pronounced al-yawa. The al essentially means unto, or to someone. Right? Something al is used to, you see it a lot in the Sabbath service. It's hard to go even 5 lines without seeing the al there. But that is denoting is that something is being directed at someone or a group of people. So we got nigh or close, and of course it's plural because we're talking about multiple people. We're talking about a nation. Quarabium al yawa, close to them or unto them. That's what that word al yawa is meaning here. Okay? So you might read a scripture where it might say at the beginning, it might say, Waya Amar, Al Masha. There you go. And he said unto Moses, Waya Amar Al Masha, Maya, Hawa. We just spoke a whole Hebrew sentence. Y'all catch it? Probably not. Waya Amar al Masha, Maya Hawa'a. Just a little bit. The water, brother. Boom, that's the water. What did I just say? What did I just say? Waya Amar al Masha, Maya Hawa'a. That's connected concepts that we've been using. Go ahead, Yanazor. Waya Amar al Masha, Maya Hawa'a. I just made that up. That's a whole sentence. Right? And he said to Moses, who is he? Right? So that's how we use that al. So when you see al Yahweh, it means unto them or unto him. And this sentence is multiple. See, just like in English subject verb agreement, because quorabium is a plural, it stays plural, talking about a group of people unto them. All right. Then it says, what's his next word? Which means?
Ka is as or like.
Uh-huh.
So is as Yahweh.
Uh-huh. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. As Yahweh, we know what it says in the English. As Yahweh, which is Alahaya Nawa is what?
Our God.
Our God. Our power. Alahaya Nawa, right? Next word is what? Uh-huh. Bakal, right? Which means what? Ba. What does ba mean in Hebrew? In. What does kal or kal mean in Hebrew? All or everything. Bakal. In all. That's literally what bakal means here. In all, right? In all, see, it doesn't even have any words to denote things because kal in all. You don't need to say things. Right, in all, in everything. Kal or call means everything. You don't have to add words because call just means all of it. Right? But call, right? Quara'a nawa. Quara'a means to call. Right. Quara'a nawa. There we go. Going back to the root word because we know we got to be able to say, if we're saying we know what we got to say. We got to say nawa. So quara'a, we know we got to say that root word quara'a nawa. Quara'a nawa. Right. Then it says what? The same word again. Al Yahweh. But this time it's not plural. It means unto or upon him. Khan. We just read a whole sentence in the Assyrian and broke it down. For who is that nation? Great. So like, let me get that lawa. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on. I know what it means, but the lawa is great. Don't worry about the lawa. I think it means to something as well, or to them or something, right? The God or the Most High, Elohim. Nigh unto them as Yahweh, our power, right? In all, right? That we call, in all we call to him. Meaning what? Use mine.
All the things that we ask him for or call upon him to do for us.
Pretty much, you close, you want it, you know what I mean? But the better way to look at it is like, because we keep the laws, right? That's why he's with us, right? What nation is there so great that had the Most High so nigh unto him, unto them? Because we keep the laws, this is what they're going to say about us. You know what I'm saying? We keep the laws, and so when we go into battle, what happens? We don't lose. Other armies don't prevail against us. Other nations don't prevail against us. Follow me? Any questions on that? All right. Now, there's something else I wanted to do real quick. Oh, well, we already did the 5 W's. So let's talk about possessives as pronouns as it relates to that fact, right? Because we saw some of that in the example that we just did. So let's get them written down. So we got this alphabet down, right? Y'all mind if I erase that? Okay. What's that in Christ? Erase this too. All right. Just a moment. This is just for the purposes of how describing how we were using these 5 W's and what we're gonna continue to use going forward with the H's and so on and so forth. We gotta learn how to say how and stuff like that, right? So we're not gonna get all the prepositions, just the one we need for this. So what we're talking about is a concept of utilizing of forming pronouns in different ways. So what are the pronouns we know? Like the pure pronouns we know. Pronouns. Come on, y'all been in class? Exactly. What are the pronouns we know? How do we say he in Hebrew? How do we say she in Hebrew? Haya'a. how do we say I in Hebrew? How do we say I? Anya, how do we say you? That one always trip y'all up. Well, Khan, but I asked about the pure pronouns. There we go. Atha. No sweat. How do we say we? Is that it? Yeah, there we go. I think it's a knock.
A knock now.
That's it. Salakia. Khan. A knock now. All of these are the pure pronouns. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? We can actually see it on the board right now. Possessors are possessives. Pronouns are pronouns. But there's a reason why we separate them. If I say Anya something, or if I say something atha, as opposed to saying ka at the end, which you knew, Yanazar, we got it right here, right? We asked this question. We said, where is he? But we didn't say ayah hawa'a. We said, what do you want? We said, ma kasar ka. We didn't say ma kasar atha. Why? Why? We use possessives. But why do we use those here? But when we said, who is he? We said, Maya Hawa'a. I'm telling you, this will help us going forward to know when to use which. It'll help. We got all these pronouns. Anak nawa, atha, anya, hawa'a, haya'a. And there's more, of course.
Because it's more than one person or a plural?
Nope. The plurals, we got a thumb and a thun, right? At the beginning of every class, we say to the brothers, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shabarak, a thumb. To the sisters, we say Yahweh Shema Al, a thun, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. That's what makes it plural or not. A thun and a thumb are just plural forms of what? A th. But why? Why is it that we can use this? So here's the possessives we know. Let's go with the possessives we know, right? Let's do that. Not quite. Just a moment. second. So as a possessive, Yah means what? Mm-mm. Yah means my. As a possessive, Ka means what? Yours or thy. What is deal with these for now? As a possessive, Wa means what? As a possessive. These are suffixes. They go at the end of a word. Right? The Wa at the end of a word means his, and the Ha at the end of a word means hers or her. Right? Then we also have some prepositions. Specifically, right now, we're talking about these are prefixes. They go at the beginning of a word. Talking about and we're talking about Yah. And what does mean as a preposition?
I am.
There we go. Exactly. I or I am. What does Yah mean as a preposition?
He.
Right. Means he. Now, the thing we're talking about is the fact that these possessives can actually double in a different way, as are these prepositions can double in a different way. Right? Somewhat. Yah at the end of a word means my or mine. But that's if I'm talking about what? What can be mine?
Possession. Anything, any kind of possession.
Are you onto it? What can I possess?
Almost anything.
Okay. I can possess a wife, correct? I can possess a car. I can possess a desk, a chair, you know. I can possess a business. But all of these share what in common? I've named a few. A wife is a person, right? I can possess land. They're nouns, right? A person, place, or thing. I can possess those. So if it's a noun, I can say what a noun is. So a thing, like, say, what's a thing? Somebody give me a thing in Hebrew. Yeah, give me just name a thing, anything. Count. What's the word? What's the Hebrew word for mountain? No sweat. Yeah, I was anticipating you would use a word that you knew the Hebrew word for, but that's no sweat. No, that's fine. That's fine. I think I knew it at one point, but I don't. Let me see if I have it. Oh, wait a minute. I might have it here. Yeah, you said wine, right? What's the Hebrew word for wine? Yayan. Right, yayan, right? So how would I say my wine? Yayan, what? Yayanya. How would I say his wine? Yayanwa. Her wine, yayanha. Your wine, yayanka. Right? That's how I would use those possessives, because I'm talking about it now. But here's the kicker. If we're talking about a what? If we're talking about a verb or something else, I can use those possessives in a similar fashion as I would use what? As I would use a pronoun. But the difference, which is what I was asking before, the difference is that I'm being a lot less, what's the word? When I use the possessives or the prepositions to replace the pure pronouns, what am I being? I'm being less of a word. No. Listen, hear me out. Let me slow it down. What I'm saying is this. These are possessives. These are prepositions. The actual pronoun to say I is Anya. But if you ask me what I want, I don't say Anya Kassar McDonald's. I don't say that. I say Kassar McDonald's. And when I ask you, what do you want? I don't say ma kasar a th. I say ma kasarka, a possessive word. First off, why can't I do it? And secondly, why would I do it? Why wouldn't I just say ma kasar a th? For time's sake, I'll give you the first answer. The first answer is I can do that because kasar is not a noun. It is not a person, place, or thing, or an idea. It's an action. Something you do. I can't possess an action. I cannot have possession of wanting or desire. I can't have possession of running. I can't have possession of dying. I can't have possession of being spoiled. I can't have possession of these things. So guess what? So if there's a ka at the end there, then it can't be used in a possessive fashion. But it's still used in terms of who it's being directed at. You follow me? You having trouble?
Say it again. Say that one more time.
What I'm saying is, if I'm talking about a noun, let's say the word for book, it's your book. In Hebrew, let's say water. You got a bottle of water. How we say water in Hebrew? Mayum. Mayumya. My water. Mayumka, your water. Mayumnawa, our water. But in order for it to be ours or to belong to someone, it has to be what? Person, place, or thing. It has to be a thing you can possess. But what I'm saying is that in Hebrew, if it's not a thing, if it's an action, you can then use these words not as possessive, but in terms of who is performing that action. Or, yeah, who's performing that action. So think of it like in terms of, you ever heard of in English where they might say first person, second person, third person, like your vantage point, right? Like the point of view. And this is first person. It's talking about me. Second person, and these are third person. You can use them in the same way because he is nothing but what? The third person, right? It's a third person pronoun. It's just not possessive. He is just his without possessive. She is just her or hers without possessives. You is just yours without it being possessive. And my is just what? Me. Just without possessive. That's the difference. So these, you can use my as me, yours as you, his as he, and hers as she. And we're proving it right here with these questions because there's no nouns here. Kasar is not a noun. Ayah is not a noun. Mathaya is not a noun. It's not a noun. Dying is an action. When will he die is an action, right? All of these are action words, so you can attach these possessives to be used as pronouns. We discussed this before, right? We're still answering the first question of how can we do it? And we did it right here. Now, prepositions, these are not possessives. But I or I am, why would we need two different words to mean I when we have Anya? He, why would we need a different word to mean he when we have Hawa'ah? Why? And why is this first question, Maya Hawa'ah, why is it asked with an actual pure pronoun, but all of these are using what? Possessives as pronouns. Makasarka, Ayawa, Mathaya, that's a possessive ya at the end. It was like Mathaya is the question. The possessive, the preposition is here. Mathaya, ya mawa. When he die. Okay? Why is he spoiled? Now, this one actually doesn't use a he at all in this particular sentence because haya just means is, I think, in the sentence. Or he is. Right, so this is a different type of form. So it's a little bit different. It's like he is, right? But the rest of them utilize these possessives in the same function as pronouns. Why it can happen is because in Hebrew, if it's not a noun, then you're not using the possessive. In English, that doesn't make sense. There's a completely different word. You understand what I'm saying? If I say in English, that's she car, that sounds crazy. Right. But if I say That's me car. Doesn't make sense. It almost sounds like a lot of foreigners who speak older languages. Don't they kind of talk like that sometimes? Is that you house? I come to you house. Right? Good. I know like. Right? There's a reason for that. Because in a lot of older languages, these things kind of doubled, you know. You didn't have to separate the words. You know, if I'm not talking about a thing, if I'm not talking about an object that I can own, then if I use ya, ka, wa, ha, or some of the other possessives, then you know I have to be what? I'm just talking about the perspective. I'm talking about the point of view, right? The person. My, me. It's the same concept. It's just a different form. Yours, you, his, he, hers, she. That's why we can do it. Or how we can do it. Now the question is, well, when do we use it? When do we know to use hawa'a and when to use ya or wa? No, because remember now we're talking about prepositions where this has nothing to do with possessive. This is nothing to do with possessive. Ya, there's nothing to do with possessives. They're prepositions, these prefixes that go to the beginning of the word. They're prepositions. They're positioned before something. As in, again, Akasar McDonald's. Akasar Bojangles. I don't really want that, but Akasar Mike's, right? Akasar. Give me something else. Akasar Mayum. I want water. Akasar Burger King, you know, whatever you want to say. What's that? Oh, a woman. You just said you want a man. Ayash is man, brother. I think you mean Asha. I know you mean Asha. Akasar Asha. Right? I want a woman. You know what I'm saying? Oh, sorry, Christ. Come on. Akasar Ban. I want a son. All right? So, why and when do we use it? This is the question. Why and when do we use it? And like I said before, a few minutes ago, the answer is it is less something. I'll give you a hint. You might get it. We'll say, this will be the last one. We're over the time, actually. Damn it. What the? We'll say Anya and Ah. Anya is blank and Ah is in blank. Damn it. The clue is, what does this have different than the rest? This first question. Maya hawa ah. Because again, even though we're using the regular pronoun and ah here, salak here. Con. This is the clue. I'm gonna give it to you soon. Who is he? I'll give up. You give up? What about you, Yanazar? Give up? Got you. Okay. So Yanazar, what do you want? What do you want to eat?
Chili.
Okay, right. Someone, Yanazar, Iowa. I'm asking you. Iowa. Yanazar, Iowa. He's over there, right? I ain't gonna use that one. My brother's gonna live to be 200 years old. So we ain't worried about that one. But the point is, where is he? What do you want? All of those are contingent on the fact that what? I know him.
You what?
I know you. I know you. But guess what doesn't make sense? Maya Hawa'a. Or Maya Mayawa. Mayawa. Why does that not make sense?
Who is he?
Well, why does that not make sense for me to say that about Yanazar? Because I know him. You follow me?
I'm getting there.
No sweat. This word is like Anya, formal. And like ka, wa, so on, is informal. It makes absolutely no sense for me to use an informal word for someone who I don't know. So if I have to ask who the person is, it has to be formal because I don't know them. I have to say Maya. How I can't say Maya wa, because if I'm using wa, it means what? I know them. So why would I be asking who they are? I know them. We use hawa'a here because we don't know the person. This is formal. In all the other examples, we know the person. It's informal. Yanazar asks me what I want. I say, kasar McDonald's. Because it's informal. I know the brother. We and him is close. Like, you know what I mean? We're familiar. We have a familial relationship. But if Commander General Yohana asked me, then I probably would say what? Anya. Right. Because now it's more formal. There's a distance between us. I know him, but I don't have that. He's out of one. You know what I'm saying? It's a different thing. So the difference between the usage is about formal and informal. You follow me? We're going to use the pure pronouns of Anya, Hawa'a, Haya'a, and so on, generally when we're being more formal. Just like when we say these greetings to one another, right? Because why? We generalize it as a formal thing because sometimes we're saying it to what? Sisters we never met, brothers we never met, and that we don't know, and vice versa. You understand? But when me and you are just talking to each other, we want to start utilizing these possessives, man, these prepositions. We want to start saying kasar and so on. We want to talk about a brother we know well. You want to say ayawa. We want to start using these because this is more everyday familial speech. You understand? Y'all got what I'm saying? Follow me on that one? Con. So that's the difference between those two and when to utilize them. All right. So we did go see we possessive pronouns. Next week, 5 H's. Talking about how. Go ahead. Absolutely. Count. We're gonna connect the two. I got you. No sweat. Not a problem. Right? For now, the concept you want to get in your mind is that with these possessives, if you use them with a verb, it's like using like a pronoun, right? And these prepositions, what they have in common is that both of them you're going to use in an informal situation. So if I take an action word, right, and add it to a possessive, that I can use that if I'm talking to you, if I'm talking to a brother that I know. You understand? Whereas I'm gonna use the pure pronoun if I'm not talking to someone that I have a more familial, informal relationship with. You understand what I'm saying? That's how that's gonna work. Well, yeah, next week, don't let me forget, Yanazar, we'll start there. That's where we'll start. We'll start with possessors as pronouns. Okay. Most High in Christ. Is there any questions in the room? Questions online? I don't think so. I think we're all good to go. So that's where we'll start next week. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Tune in with us and we'll keep going. All right. And with that, I'm pass the class over to Priest and Officer Yanazar.
Security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Malachi 18 and 21. Numbers 18 and 21 in Malachi 3, verses 8 through 10 means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priest, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. Sunday, June 12th, is the Feast of First Fruit in Charlotte. For us down here in North Carolina, it'll be in Charlotte. Remind Akim and Aquapium to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, I mod them. Men of Israel.